All right, welcome to the stream. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well during this quarantine. Hope everyone's feeling all right. And welcome to the Crypto Lifer stream. Today, we're going to go over what we usually go over at the beginning of the day, which is Bitcoin, the Dow, and gold. And then we mix it up between different things that we are looking at, different assets, and we come at it from a contrarian stock trading perspective and a crypto trading perspective here at the Crypto Lifer. If you're just joining, thank you so much for joining, and I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Wacky Wednesdays out here during quarantine. All right, so here we have Bitcoin at 91867. Altcoins are tumbling BTC wise as Bitcoin dominates at the highest level since January of 2020. Well, that makes a lot of sense also due to the halving. People are going to be a little more Bitcoin hungry, so you're going to see that. Definitely going to see that happen. Okay. I have my blocked account. I'm up $299 on a Bitcoin buy at 86.58.65. When I saw Bitcoin jump to like 88, I just felt like, damn, I can't chase. Then it went up a little, 89. It was playing games in that area, so I put 860. It sat there at 4. I don't know. Does it show me? Yeah, 5-1 was the day I made the in, but we didn't get in till like I think last night. I didn't even really like check yet, but I think on this wick down, yeah. See this wick right here? Stop hunting, and I got in. I got in there, which is pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. So, and then off to the races, right? Only got half of Bitcoin, so I'm only making half of the gains. But it's up about, what, 700 from there? About, almost. Yeah, I mean, 80. Well, it went even further down if you caught the perfect timing. And it was up to 93.57 earlier today. Now, what do we see happening for Bitcoin? Well, we see these levels coming up. We're coming up to, which is 98, 850 area here. And then we also have this 10,100 and above range of that 10,400. Everyone knows that we just hit it on that crazy pump that day. We hit it again on that last pump. And we really need to break 10.4. 10.4 over and out. Sorry, like 10.4 over and out. We need to break 10.4. It's a big deal if we break 10.4. So, what do I see happening for Bitcoin? Well, we're in a bit of a rising wedge, or, almost a flag, though. Let's see this here on the daily. Remember, we're on the daily. Have a MACD cross. Looks like we're coming down. Like we ended. We are very overbought. But again, I keep going back to this area. We're very overbought here. Like say at the beginning of this pump. And these fall downs were like what? 515 down to 5. I just want to see the differences in these little areas. You're like, what is he doing? Well, I'm looking at the differences in these little areas. Because look, we got very overbought here on the RSI. So I'm trying to compare it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only been 5 times since June 6 if you count this little thing here. And that's in February. So in about a year and a couple months, we've been down here. It's tempting to sell Bitcoin right now. We are at the top of that triangle. Remember that too. This big triangle here, which a lot of people think we would get to, which we hit. So that is, I don't know, might be a line in the sand for a lot of people. So now we need to break out. Now I think you put a stop loss, right? Like 8,900, something like that. Because if we break through here, I think we're just going to come back down to the trend line all the way to 5,800. And honestly, it probably will gap out a little more. And they'll try to maybe wick us down to the support area at 51. Or not even 50 52,000, 5,200. Yeah, 5,200. So we'll go from there, but that's something that's obviously worth looking at, worth checking out. So that's what I see for Bitcoin. What am I going to do? I'm hanging out my trade, waiting for this halving to get a little meatier, to see what people are thinking. But I feel like it's going to be like a buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing. I hate to say that about the halving, but it looks like every year that Bitcoin tanks a little bit right after the halving. But then after that little tank, it tends to just be on its merry way. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm worried to sell Bitcoin and be left out. I'm scared to hold Bitcoin and be pounded. It's a weird situation right now with Bitcoin. But with the Dow going up, we'll talk about the Dow now and just take a look. But Bitcoin was in this rising wedge, remember that, and then it broke out. So, that's like a 32% chance. And usually when that happens, it's a parabolic run. So I don't want to go against this breakout, honestly. I kind of want to keep on this run. Short term right now, if we were to break out of this flag, we would take our pole here, come out, and we would see Bitcoin about 10,600. Okay? So gains of 15%, just like an altcoin almost. I mean, something to flip, something to think about, just something to look at. But there it is for you right there. There's the measured move. You take profit here at 10,400. Watch it come down, wick back, pick it back up at 98. Because, I think once it breaks 10 again, it's going to play games at 10 like it did before, because it did it way too many times. Every time it breaks 10, I think, this is it. It won't ever break 10 again. But it never does. It always goes back under 10 and plays games with 10. So we need to get to like 16 and start playing games with like 14 before I think 10 is done. 10 has played me so many times. So just something to think about there. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's look at the Dow now. The Dow, 23,988.5. Boom. Up on a rising wedge. That's what I'm saying. This also has a 68% chance of break to the downside. Now, Bitcoin was in the same thing and it broke up. So the chance. We do see short-term Dow off of the trend line right now. It does also show some support here with the 21-day moving average crossing the 50-day, and it's also using it as support as well. If you can see this white line, if you want me to zoom in here, see this white line is the price really just came right to it, and they held support together. So interesting. We do want to see this 200-day moving average. We want to see it not cross lower moving average. Like here is not a good sign here when we see this cross here. A lower moving average crossing the 200-day. If the 200-day ends up getting on top, that's what we call flippage, and usually that's very bearish. That's a bearish sign. It's been below here, as you can see on this run, but now it's starting to look. See, this was similar to what's called a death cross here. We had the 50 crossing the 200-day moving average right there. I mean, boom. That would be around this area, yeah. But we have not since recovered on the moving averages. Something just to think about on the Dow here. We really want to see the white on top. See, when we were in good times, when we're in good times, you see the whites on top, the red, the purple, the blue, and the yellow all nicely aligned. See that? You can just see it's nice. When we start to get a little bit of trouble, you see the white starts to go underneath first. That's the first sign right here. See where price action's going down. You see the white line. Is everybody with me? You see what I'm saying here? This is the price, the moving average, 21-day. Crossing this red line, the blue line. See, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, I still see the Dow maybe coming back all the way up to 26,172 area. Maybe even having confluence with this line. So coming all the way up here. Boom, they meet at 450, 26,500 possibly, and then coming back down and meeting the trend here again at 25,800, and then by there it's either getting really tight in the range, and it's either going to come back up again to 27.8 and then come back down 26. And by that time, if it does fall out of the wedge, I feel like it'll at least be a lower low, like back to 21. So we'd like to see it climb through the wedge right now, just to kind of keep things even, Steven, for the rest of the market and for people's psychology right now as we just get through what's going on. All right. Now gold. Let's see what's happening with gold. Oh, yeah, so my last prediction with gold, if it does break out, though, if this is a problem and it has issues here at 24.3, which it could have, and it could break out of this, I do have a target. Yeah, like a target here back down to 18,000. So 68% chance of it breaking back down to 18,000, but it's a wild time. So otherwise, it stays in the range here, and then when it does break down, maybe it breaks down up here. You see what I'm saying? And then our low is like 19.8 or 20,000. So two scenarios there. If we break down, if we break up, it's parabolic. I mean, then we're in for quite a bull run. So we'll see as the Bitcoin halving comes in to play with the stock market. We'll see what happens. What if there's another crash while the halving? Does that just erase the halving? These are just weird times, so it's playing games on every asset. A bunch of different things going at each other. Okay, what do I see happening for gold? All right, now gold was, as you can see, kind of similar. And it was a bit into that rising wedge here. It double topped in it. It completed the complete double top. You'd say, Sam, what's a double top? You see, look at this M. See, like a McDonald's M right there. And you take the top of the M and bring it there. So right now, even when you were just right here, you could see, I think that may be a double top forming. Then you take the bottom of the M, and that's really where you get your target with that line. And we went a little lower than that line. V-shaped recovery. You can see a clear V, right? V-shaped recovery. We break back into the same pattern. You could almost just elongate this. And you can even see we got rejected by that line. Kind of right here. Back down. Another similar V-shaped recovery. And then another V-shaped recovery. You can see it's like 3 in a row, but this one's smaller each time. And then a similar one here. And another one, but couldn't fight back. So now, and I thought we had a double top here that was going to play out, but so far so good. So now we're at the bottom of the triangle, and of course we'll probably come back up to the top. 1740, come back down, and then if we break out, I took the base of this triangle for my target, and that puts gold about 1830. So we'll see. This is my white line here, 1825, yeah. So we'll see. That would be a time where gold will probably, after that, just kind of recede a little bit. It's not predictable, but it moves in more predictable patterns because it's more of a stable asset. But yet when it moves like a more volatile asset at the same time. It's interesting. So it's fun to watch, fun to chart. So I thought we were either going to break down and get into the 1600 region, which was 1624, or we stay in this trend line and we break back up. So it all depends. We're technically still kind of in this chop pattern here, but we're definitely on a new trend, which is an uptrend. We can even go back here, and we can begin a trend. Right here, see? just forget about that horrible crash that everything was affected by. Monday the 12th or something, whatever it was. That was the worst. I don't know about you guys, but that was the worst. All right. So that's what we did. We went over gold and talked about gold. What's the play on gold? We're looking at JNUG a little bit. Still very oversold, and then it's coming back up. It still needs to get above 40 here on the RSI. 50 actually. It's at 41.70. Let's see what it says though. Do see a MACD cross coming here, so it looks like maybe the golden days are over for a little, just a couple days here on the daily too, which is strong. See what the 4 hour says. Yeah, the 4 hour, we're kind of mixing. Got a MACD cross coming that's not too bullish. I'm going to trash the old work because I can't see anything anymore. Okay. So again, very similar. Almost everything is in a very similar pattern. It's like, you know, very similar to spring as the seedlings. I've been planting a lot, like seedlings growing out, right? Hit the bottom and underneath dirt, and now they're starting to kind of come alive. Now you can see it really staying into this pattern, staying true to the pattern, right? So that's very close to either breaking out parabolically or breaking down and having another bottom. And what I see happening actually for gold, I mean, it's a gold, it's basically, you know, tied to gold. It's a gold tied asset. I really believe it's going to break out. But you know what? The chart, let's see, the chart says we're going to have a little downside, which would be good. We'd come back down to the trend line, which would cool off the RSI for a second, maybe even give us a double bottom on the RSI. This could also end up being a double bottom, which would have a nice pattern play out to like about here, 100.07. That would give it a nice 25% gain. So that's just something you want to look at, something that's worth checking out. So I see the play happening, and then you want to gobble as much as you can up in my buy zone. Let's show the buy zone here. Right here. This is the buy zone. You'll probably only get it inside of this inside the trend line here. Right here. Take a screenshot of that if you want. I'll zoom in pretty good. But there's that buy zone. I mean, anywhere from say, see on the yellow line, anywhere from 77, and even if this extends, you know, no pattern's perfect. Even Peter Brand said sometimes this might do this, right? Because we got our touches in the bag, and it might just come down a little bit. So I could even just be a little more gracious, right? Yeah, if you can get 75, 76, any there. If it starts to break down, though, and you see it breaking below the pattern, I'd be cautious. So I'd definitely put, like, you know, an alert here. Here. This is the lowest I would go, 61. At that point, I would consider this idea null, and I would rethink it. But right now, and what we're hoping for is this, you know, a parabolic breakout, right? And we'd like to see %90 gains up to 153. So that's just something that we're looking at, and that's very possible with this breakout. It's only, you know, a 32% chance. We have a 68% chance to break to the downside with this type of pattern. but it also is, pegged to gold, and I think gold is about to have its time. The fact that it's not retracing hard back into this other buy zone I have here for regular gold is interesting to me. So it's playing at the bottom of this trend line pattern as well. So they're both in these trend line patterns. I think JNUG is just going to retreat a little bit more. I bet if I go back to the 1 hour, you're going to see the red about to happen. Yep, see? See, you can tell where we're at by the feeling of the, which tells me we're about to go down. See, look at this curve. It's about to cross. So it tells me that we're going to go down for a little while. Interesting. So the Dow now in the red. Bitcoin is not correlating to that because now Bitcoin's breaking back up to 92. Interesting. Very interesting to see. So it's been one of those days, right? Dow back into the red. It could be beginning its fall right now, right out of the pattern. We're not sure, but this is something that I'm waiting for. See, I have two lines here. One is worst case scenario coming back down to 14,000 and bouncing off of 19.8 right here. So there's just the two options that I see happening for gold. I've been telling people, look at Benton Resources Inc. Something just to look at. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for financial entertainment purposes only. But comment, like, and subscribe if you like the channel and you like my content. But just something to think about here is Benton Resources Inc. I think it's BNTRX. If you don't have money on the Toronto Stock Exchange and you want to buy it, like through OTC markets in America. They're a gold and silver and copper zinc play. Definitely worth looking at. Benton Resources Inc. Also like Lamar Advertising here. Something to look at, put on your radar. And Outfront Media is also something that I've been watching a little bit more than normal. Right here, Outfront Media at 1327. It was just down 17.14, so it's about almost up 100%. And went over that line a few times here, as you can see, spike up and down, but now it's doing its thing. Everything's in that pattern though, where it could definitely fall out. They're all in these rising wedges. Very interesting to see. So Ethereum at 207, holding strong in a beautiful pattern. You see a pattern like that, it makes you want to play it. I mean, look at this. I saw the triangle immediately. So here we go. Sad thing is though, Ethereum could come all the way back down to the bottom of this trend line here, which would put it at 199. No, not too bad. Or on the 1 hour. Okay, that's why. I'm like, why is that not too bad? Yep. 1 hour is handy. Some people say it's handy if you're using it for what it means. Like, don't use it for the 1 hour. Like, use it for multiple hours on the 1 hour, Like, I don't know if that makes sense. People be like, well, then use the 4 hour, but you can kind of just get an idea. I mean, if you can pull a target, you can pull a target, in my opinion, right? So 15% even coming out of Ethereum. If we break down, you really want to get it here in the bottom of the buy zone if it comes back down. This is where you want to be accumulating. Right here. Boom. If we get it right in there, between 199 and 201, and then slang it like 233, somewhere right in here, that would be the plan. Right? Save this little bit, maybe keep 10% in, 20% in, but so So whales are accumulating Bitcoin and Ethereum, disregarding macro concerns. Whales have been steadily accumulating Bitcoin and Ethereum since the price crash in March 2020. As the halving nears, the number of Bitcoin whales holding over 1,000 BTC has grown. Ether whales have shown similar behavior, with small investors also buying Ether in the hopes of stacking on ETH 2.0. Large Bitcoin and ETH whales are doubling down by adding more coins to their holdings, even as crashes rock global financial markets. Accumulating Bitcoin for the next cycle, addresses holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin saw an increase through the year, briefly collapsing mid-March when the price of Bitcoin fell by over 40% in a day, Bitcoin holder estimates. The crash on March 13th was preceded by a massive uptick in users depositing Bitcoin on exchanges. This is usually a bearish sign, as it indicates investors are preparing to sell their Bitcoin en masse. Bitcoin whales have stuck to their guns with unrelenting accumulation after the initial fear disappeared. The halving, scheduled for less than a week, is the biggest catalyst for Bitcoin. And honestly, we go to that fear and greed index to give us a look. It's getting up there to little highs, see? 5,300 was the buy I made. And that was when the fear was at like a 9 or 12. And it's like, you know what? It's like the safest thing you can do. And you want to be selling when we're over here somewhere. So we're still all right. But you know what? It's weird. I'm sad that we're not in the fear anymore. Because when you're in the fear, things aren't looking good. But I'm sad. We want to be in the fear. We want to grab more Bitcoin in the fear. You know? So. But $200 a month, man. That's what I've been doing over and over and over again. Now we're up 318 on this Bitcoin buy at 8650. Interesting. So far, so good. Litecoin doing the same thing, kind of crawling back up. We do have resistance right where we're at. As you can see, this was an old line here. We bounced off. Now we're hitting it. Got to get above that. Then we're going to have a little trouble there, and so on and so forth. So Litecoin has a few hurdles to break up through, and it's in that rising wedge too. We'll see it really following Bitcoin, which is it really kind of does during like a real meaty crypto run, or where crypto's kind of when crypto's doing what it's supposed to do. That's something that you see a lot. So just something to think about, you know, historically as time goes on. OPK trying to make a big run at being the forerunner here for the, you know, the coronavirus. I'm like saying it. Yeah, where do you think Bitcoin will go? Well, we went over that. I'm thinking, see, look. We're in this big triangle here that I showed, which has of course, 19,000 target. Or actually, no, a bigger target up here. Yeah, big target of 22,000 right here. If we break out, and then the smaller triangle. So we're in the bigger triangle was like from the back here all the way down. And that's this one. And then we have this smaller triangle if I use this baseline here. Right? And that basically gives us a target of 19,000 back to our old high. That's in the bigger picture. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think it may take 6 months, something like that. I'm talking maybe December 2020 eventually. But in the short term, let's look deeper. So that's that's like my 7-8 month prediction. In the short term, I see that we have a flag here. We're flagging. So in my opinion, as you can see, I had a bit of a flag here going. So we got a bit of a flag here. Boom. Take your poll. Boom. And we're at 10,500. So I see us going up to 10.4, 10.5, and that's short term. So I do see us pushing up a little more to 10,400. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. I think it's going to come back down, maybe bounce here off of 98, play games in this region for a little while, kind of like it's doing here, or it did in this kind of, you'll see something like that. Then it either retraces hard after a sell-off, possibly to either 88 or even down to 68, right? And look, then it also can stay in this triangle that I drew. The closer to the apex, the more explosive. So then it could even come back down to either this trend line here at 6,000, or it even could go back down to this trend line here all the way, which is sad, but it's at like 2,600. Now, I don't see that happening. I think we're kind of done with that bottom there. I think we had a new bottom set in this area here. The next bottom, I think, would be somewhere here at 5,000. But, yeah, and then we keep moving. So, short term, 10,000. Like, I'm talking in the next week or two, 10,400, 10,005. We bounce around. We could even break back up all the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 11.5. But then I think for some reason there's a sell-off after the halving. Again, maybe we break up parabolic and we go all the way to 19,000. Who knows? But just looking at the chart and playing the technical analysis without thinking of like all the craziness and just looking at what the chart says, 10,400, 10,500, and then that's short term, So it's from there. Ether, kind of, we looked at that a second ago, but we see that it's kind of starting to flag here, right? So it's weird. I just did this. It didn't seem to save the work. It's very interesting. But maybe we did over here. Yeah, there it is. So here's Ether. We're thinking it's going to go up 40%. Bottom of the trend line. I'd like to catch it back at 199. Even if it wicked down and you got in at 192, you'd be like a magician. So that's just something to think about. Play on JNUG, still waiting. The case for $3,000 gold, morning brief. I think it's coming. The Fed can't print gold. Economic response to the coronavirus has been unprecedented. From record drops in consumer spending to expectations of a record decline in GDP growth, and a never-before-seen explosion in support from fiscal and monetary authorities. We're in truly unparalleled environment for investors, and these newfound challenges, strategists at Bank of America Global Research think the case has strengthened for the oldest safe haven in the book, gold. As the ultimate store of value, gold prices have performed well during the past 15 months, posting a rally of 10% since the Federal Reserve did a monetary policy U-turn in January. Strategics led by Michael Widner. The size of the major central bank balance sheets have been stable around 25% of the GDP for the last decade or so, just like the gold price. And there's Good Launch, if you go into him, at Truth Good Launch. I spoke about how physical gold is far better than paper gold for the opposite but related reason that tanked May WTI today. What if paper gold vehicles wanted to take delivery of their futures and the counterparty couldn't deliver? And the future, yeah, see? U.S. Treasury Department today admitted to a $3 trillion borrowing need in the next quarter. I'll take the over. If endless borrowing is a viable solution, why do we have any taxation in the first place? Right? I'm going to push that and retweet that. Well said. Yeah, if they could just keep borrowing to the point of no return, like, why are we paying taxes? Like, what do we tax for? Like, because we can't pay that debt off now. Now it's ridiculous. So now, like, what are we paying the taxes for? If the Fed does start buying ETFs broadly and in size in response to recent requests, they do so as not to let down the buyers who front-ran the Fed April 9th. Will not and should not be well received on Main Street. Warren Buffett selling all his airline stocks corroborates the economic genie is not going back in the bottle thesis. In the late summer 2007, Warren doubled down on bank stocks, a bad call with hindsight benefit. So this airline bail now is a big deal. Want to see a chart of the greatest large-scale whipsaw of all time? Look at the price action of the ETF LQD over the past 5 years and year to date. Not the end, the beginning. If the Fed has not actually been buying corporate bonds, even through its shell company, the buyers of corporate bonds at today's prices, maybe the ultimate default recovery value, are simply hoping to sell to the Fed shell company at today's or high prices in the future. I am told that the Fed has not actually bought any corporate bonds via the shell company set up to circumvent the restrictions of the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Must be the most effective job-owning success in Fed history, if that is true. Wow. I doubt I'm not the only person frustrated with the national debt finance bailouts of companies that leveraged up large to buy back stock to levitate share prices to enrich shareholders and company executives. Yeah, they leveraged up. You know, I've been saying that for a long time on my channel and sticking to it. Like, they basically took out huge loans at those low interest rates, and then they bought their own shares, trying to pump up the share price. And what ended up happening is they ended up just owing tons of money now because their share price is now lower. They can't sell to pay back the loan. It's a mess, man. Yes. A SWAT team with guns drawn raided a peaceful protest at Big Daddy Zane's in West Odessa, Texas. A bar owner reopened because he says all businesses are essential. Governor, is this acceptable in Texas? Anyone want to guess what it is? Yeah, right. One day they're going to show up and walk right into an ambush. Those MRAP offers a lot of protection till one of the tires starts burning and they turn into an oven. Oil, milk, and sugar on the window, and they can't drive them either. If they keep this up, it's going to get ugly. Oof. Wow, that's kind of weird. They're doing some 25% capacity because businesses can't survive on artificial limit. I thought... yeah, I don't want to get into stuff like that. That's like... Anyway. Interesting news floating about today out here. But yeah, but looking back at Bitcoin, strong 9250 with the Dow going back down. So now they're just not correlated at all. You see Bitcoin just going up while the Dow's going down. Yeah, I could see Bitcoin maybe possibly getting to 10,000 today. I mean, it's looking really, really bullish. Let's look at it on the weekly. Telling you, the last time I had a cross like this on the weekly, we went from 3,000 all the way up to 12 and 13.8. Right now we're having the cross on the weekly. Look, and you can say after the cross a little bit, we were like right here. Right here. Right? A little more of an uptick, as you can see. Then see if we left in the pink. We left in the pink here. I mean, the pink is this area. The slightly less red, the whiter red. So we came up, boom. That was the run. So this is going to be the run, this green. And when the green starts to falter, it's going to be time to get out. So we just got to watch this and play it right, honestly. So right now you're in the right place. Like we crossed. Look, we're in little curve up. We're in almost the exact spot. Look. I'm circling it here with my cursor, but you can see we pinned up and now we've curved up. Right? Here we've pinned up. We're going to just curve up. MACD is just crossed like we're right here, like we're right there. About to have that giant candle. To push us over 10,000. Wow. So if you look at it on the weekly, there's a very strong indication. And we haven't seen we had a little MACD cross here, as you can see. Short-lived, ephemeral. But we have the move right now coming, looking very similar to where we were. Everything's kind of, the setup is the same. So just something to think about. Yeah, I really didn't want to get left behind, but I didn't want to chase. I'm very happy for being patient and for gobbling it up. Look, up $332, 6.8%, in at 86.58. No stop loss as of yet. I don't want to get stopped out with their stomp hunting nonsense. You can even see here on the 1 hour. We are at the top of this trend line though. Could see us fall back down to 87.62. Very interesting. See that? It's like, yeah, you should take profits, right? Look at all these other things that are going on. Let's look at the Coin Market Cap app. Bitcoin up 3%. Ethereum up 2%. XRP 2%. Tether holding steady. Bitcoin Cash 3%. Bitcoin SV up 1%. Litecoin 1%. 4% for Neo. Neo back at $9. Cosmo 271. Zcash 44. Nem 4 cents. MakerDAO back at 338. Digibyte 2 cents. Basic Attention Token holding at 18 cents. VeChain, not even half a penny yet. Still kind of in that zone. Binance Coin. Oh, Binance USD Coin. That's it there, yeah. I'll go up to BNB Coin. Where is it? Right here. Binance Coin holding at $17. Number 8. Stellar, 7 cents. Cardano holding 5 cents. Pretty strong. Chainlink at 370. Okay. What's Tezos? Tezos at 270. Tezos and Chainlink just had a partnership. Interesting, right? Something to talk about. Something to look into here. So, Raven Coin, old favorite, at 2 cents. Theta at 14 cents. Engine Coin, 14, almost at 15 cents now. Had a big pump recently. Kyber Network back at 66 cents. Can see it over $1 very, very shortly. Bitcoin Diamond, Waves at $1. OMC Go 71. Sia Coin 0.002 tenths of a cent. Energy 331. Monacoin at $1.38, up 1%. Now look at Sia Coin up 8.88%. Triple eights. Zilliqua, not a cent yet, even though I've traded Zilliqua a lot at the beginning. It had a lot of action at the beginning of 2017, 2019, like the spring of 2019. About a year ago, Zilliqua was like it had some movements. It was a very interesting coin. Numeraire up 16%. This one's on the radar now. People talking about it. This coin right here. Something to think about. Something I want to actually give it a look here. Open a new tab. We're going to look at that. BitTorrent. Komodo, 52 cents. Matic, 1 cent. And almost 2 cents, up 3.9%. Verge, old favorite, not even a cent yet. 0.33%, up 16%. Ren, a big boy in the game. People don't think no, but Ren, man, up 6 cents, up 7%. In the last 24 hours. So seen some big gains here. Look, Chili's up 18%. So that had some gains right there. MaidSafe Coin, Pax Gold, Unibright, Gollum, Zcoin, Repeal Credit Network. So up 9%. Just went over a lot of different coins that I haven't looked at in a while, but they all ring a bell. I know them all a little too well, like old friends in a bar room almost, right? So that's interesting to see what we have going on there. And then the coin that I just popped out, Numeraire, at $27, up 18%. And so if you bought it literally at $6 in December, in March it was $8. So basically would have tripled your money already in a month, in the month of April. Amazing, right? Let's look at it in 1 month. What you could have done. Got it for $17. And now it's at 27. So okay, you would have made like a little more than 50%. But big pump recently, even in the last few days. So you could have got it for 22 just a week ago. And now she's all the way up. 27, 28. Interesting. So there you go. Numeraire. The hardest data science tournament on the planet. 37 million paid out. Start with hedge funds quality data. It is clear and regularized, designed to be useful right away. Obfuscated so it can be given out for free. Download dataset. Apply machine learning to predict the stock market. Build a model using the example Python and R scripts. Everything you need to get started in one package. Clone example scripts. Submit your predictions to control the capital of the Numerai hedge fund. Build reputation to claim your place on the leaderboard. Stake on your model to earn cryptocurrency, rules and payouts. Join the network and build the world's largest hedge fund. Backed by Union Square Ventures, the co-founder of Renaissance and the co-founder of Coinbase. Sign up. Numerai. Master plan. Interesting. URNMR. Now. I think it's similar to Syndicator. Right? The core of Numerai is the data science problem, the problem of predicting the stock market. In the provided training data, each id corresponds with a stock with a set of obfuscated features. The largest represents futures performance. Rows are grouped into errors that represent different points in time. Your goal is to train a machine learning model to predict the target given new features. Below is an example of how to train a model on the training data to make predictions on the tournament data. Every Saturday, a new round begins and a new tournament data is released. Submit your predictions to Numerai to enter the tournament. The submission deadline is Monday. Use our tools and libraries to connect with your graph. Your submission is scored on the correlation between your predictions and the true targets. The higher the correlation, the better. Staking. You can stake on your submission to start earning payouts. You can either stake on correlation or MMC. Staking requires you to look up NMR and erase your smart contract agreement. That gives Numerai the ability to burn your stake if your model performs poorly. You earn or burn a percentage of your stake based on the score you are staking. For example, if you staked 100 MMR on correlation and your score was 0.05, then you will earn 5% of the MMR equals 5 NMR. The maximum you can earn or burn is 25% of your stake each round. Interesting. All right, with that, my friends, I'll bid you adieu. Bitcoin doing very, very well at 92.25, holding well as the Dow kind of just sits in Wonderland at 25 points down. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post